Why is it that the closer something gets to our heart, the more likely we are to destroy it? It's a strange contradiction, isn't it? You finally get the love you always wanted, the job you've dreamed of, the peace you swore you were chasing, and then, somehow, you pull the pin. You ghost the person. You procrastinate until the opportunity fades. You start a fight just to feel something real. You quietly light a match to the very thing you thought would save you. But what if I told you this isn't irrational? What if the parts of you that sabotage love, happiness, and success are actually trying to protect you from a threat your conscious mind can't even see? We don't destroy what we love because we hate it. We destroy what we love because we've been conditioned to believe we don't deserve it. This is the silent psychology of self-destruction, and it runs deeper than most people ever realize. To understand this, we have to go back, not to a single traumatic moment, but to the emotional blueprint that was laid in childhood. Most people grow up not with overt abuse, but with something more subtle, conditional love. You were praised when you performed, ignored when you cried, rewarded when you were easy, punished, maybe not physically, but emotionally, when you were real. Over time, you learned something that would quietly shape your entire life. Being loved means not being yourself. So what happens when someone does love you, when they see you really see you, and still stay? Your system panics. It doesn't trust the unfamiliar. The subconscious whispers, asterisk, this can't be safe. This will end. This will hurt. Asterisk, and before the pain of abandonment can come from the outside, you make sure it comes from within. It's a survival tactic. Sabotage is the brain's way of creating certainty in uncertain emotional terrain. Because to the wounded mind, asterisk, predictable pain, asterisk, feels safer than asterisk, unpredictable joy, asterisk. Sigmund Freud called this the repetition compulsion. The unconscious drive to recreate the emotional landscape of our earliest relationship, even if those landscapes were filled with neglect, criticism, or chaos, because what's familiar feels like home even when it hurts. You see this everywhere. The woman who always dates emotionally unavailable men. The man who walks away as soon as someone gets too close. The artist who never finishes their work because success would dismantle their identity as a struggler. And it's not because they don't want love, closeness, or success. It's because their nervous systems associate those things with danger. Carl Jung once said, asterisk, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Asterisk, most people don't realize they're sabotaging themselves. They just think they're unlucky, or lazy, or not good enough. But the truth is far more tragic, and far more liberating. We are not born afraid of love. We are taught that love is painful. We are taught that safety comes from control, that vulnerability is weakness, that hope is a liability. And once those beliefs are rooted, they begin to filter everything we experience. You get a new job offer, and instead of excitement, you feel dread. You meet someone wonderful, and instead of peace, you feel anxiety. You start to succeed, and suddenly you're overwhelmed by guilt or the urge to quit. These aren't signs that something is wrong with the opportunity. They're signs that something inside you believes you're unworthy of it. And this belief doesn't go away with positive affirmations. It doesn't dissolve with logic, because it's not housed in the rational part of the brain. It lives in the emotional body, in the limbic system, where past pain is stored like echoes waiting to be heard. Real healing begins when you stop blaming yourself and start asterisk, listening asterisk to yourself. When you realize that the part of you pulling the plug isn't your enemy. It's the younger you, the forgotten you, doing what they had to do to survive a world that didn't make them feel safe. But survival strategies eventually become cages. They keep you from the very life you say you want. It's like an old computer program running in the background. protecting you from threats that no longer exist. And here's the darkest part. There's a strange comfort in self-sabotage, a dark familiarity, because if you ruin it, at least you're in control. At least it doesn't leave you without warning. At least the pain is self-inflicted, manageable, expected. But this is a false safety, a hollow peace, because every time you burn down what you love, you reinforce the lie that you're unworthy of love in the first place. There's a concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. It's the mental discomfort we feel when our actions conflict with our core beliefs. If you've spent your whole life believing you're not enough, then anything that contradicts that belief, love, success, happiness, feels intolerable. You'll unconsciously act in ways to restore internal harmony, even if that means destroying what brings you joy. So you sabotage, you push it away, you run, not because you're broken, but because you're trying to stay consistent with a belief that should have never been yours to carry. You weren't born thinking you're unlovable. That belief was handed to you, and the moment you realize that, you gain the power to hand it back. Consider this. What if the pain you've been avoiding isn't in the world, but in your perception of yourself? What if the problem was never the love, the dream, or the opportunity, but the voice inside that said, asterisk, you can't hold this, you don't deserve this, you'll only ruin it. Asterisk, what if that voice is wrong, because here's the truth. What you love is not your enemy. What brings you joy is not a trap. The things that make you feel alive were asterisk, never asterisk, meant to be destroyed. And every time you choose to stay present with the discomfort, to resist the urge to push it away, to breathe through the panic of being seen, you're rewriting the story. Not the story others gave you, the one you write for yourself. Self-destruction feels like power, but real power is allowing yourself to receive what you once thought would kill you. Peace, love, success, stillness. The most courageous thing you can do isn't to fight or flee, but to asterisk receive asterisk, to say, asterisk, yes, this terrifies me, yes, this feels unfamiliar, but I will not run, I will not sabotage, I will stay. Asterisk, that's how you heal. Not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of it. Not by becoming someone new, but by reclaiming the parts of you that were told they weren't enough. So the next time you feel the urge to destroy something beautiful, pause. Ask yourself, asterisk, who told me I couldn't have this? Who told me I had to earn it? Who told me I always ruin things? Asterisk, and then remember, just because it feels true doesn't mean it is. Maybe it's not too much. Maybe you're not too much. Maybe the life you're sabotaging is the one you were always meant to live, if only you'd let yourself have it. If this message resonated with something deep in you, something hard to name but impossible to ignore, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe for more introspective explorations, and share your thoughts in the comments. What have you been pushing away out of fear? What beauty have you convinced yourself you don't deserve? Let this be the moment you stop running. Let this be the beginning of staying.